The Bravest Mohawk, Joseph Brant, Thayendanegea. Joseph Brant lived a life of two extremes. He was a baptized Christian, well educated and affluent. On the other hand, he was an Indian warrior and chief. He lived during a time when men's actions were often harsh and cruel. Brant sometimes did things in the spirit of his time and culture that today no responsible Christian would do. Joseph Brant was not a perfect man, but we wish to remember him for his strength and leadership and for the good he did for his people. The Mohawk boy stood before the tall English gentleman, his heart filled with confusion as the man spoke. Sir William Johnson was asking young Thayendanegea to come and live in the big mansion called Johnson Hall. "You are a clever and good lad," said Johnson, "and I will treat you as my son. One day you will be leader of your people." Thayendanegea grew up in the beautiful New York woods. He loved to fish and swim in the sparkling rivers. He liked the wild, free life of a Mohawk boy. The boy's sister, Molly, urged him to live at Johnson Hall. She knew it would be hard, but Thayendanegea must get ready to be a leader. So he must learn the ways of the white men too. So, sadly, Thayendanegea said goodbye to the dark and thrilling woods. He went to live at Johnson Hall, which was full of strange visitors. Men and women came riding up in carriages to visit. It was all very new to a young Mohawk boy. Then Sir William Johnson said, "You must go to school and learn." Thayendanegea had never been to a regular school before. He had never sat at a desk or read a book. He worried that he would not fit in at the school, but he wanted to do his best. His grandfather, King Brant, had been a great Mohawk leader. He did much good for his people. Thayendanegea wanted to follow in his footsteps. So, Thayendanegea went to Reverend Eleazar Wheelock's school in Connecticut, and he was now called Joseph Brant. Joseph learned to read and write English, and then he learned the Bible. Reverend Wheelock was amazed at how quickly Joseph learned. He also admired the way Joseph practiced Christian virtues. "Someday, Joseph, you must translate the Holy Bible into the language of your people," Reverend Wheelock said. And so, while still a boy, Joseph Brant began to translate the Bible and many hymns and prayers into words the Mohawk could read. He wanted all his people to read the beautiful words of Jesus that he had read. Joseph Brant went on to become a chief among the Mohawks. He fought in wars, but he treated the helpless with kindness. Joseph saved the lives of many women and children who would have been hurt in battle. Joseph Brant had many British and American friends, but when the American colonies declared their independence in 1776, Joseph and the Mohawks remained loyal to Great Britain after the British were defeated and the colonies gained their independence. Joseph took his people to a safe refuge in Canada. He built a small church and loved to sing hymns at Sunday services. He often said the happiest times of his life were spent at the religious school in Connecticut, so he sent his own children to the same school. Joseph Brant did all he could to help his people. He was a brave warrior, a statesman, a Mohawk chief, and a man who loved the words of Jesus.